These are a list of things that if you see in your house is a signal for a hidden health hazard. If you ever notice mushrooms growing in random places, like in baseboards or in closets or behind the toilet, that means that there is moisture trapped in that area, and you need to pull out whatever the mushroom is growing out of and find the leak and dry that area. The next thing you don't want to see is a musty burst when you turn on the AC. If you turn on the AC and you notice an earthy smell when the HVAC kicks in, you need to call the technicians to check the drip pan and the coil and look for black specks in the supply vents. When they're there, they should also clean up the pan and sweep the filter to keep the ducts dry. Something else to be on the lookout for is bubbling paint or stained ceilings. If you notice that there's an area of your wall or your ceiling that has a bubble or peeling paint or a ring, that means that there is a water intrusion and you need to track it back to where it's coming from and call in the plumbers to check on that. Another thing to be on the lookout for is persistent window condensation. If you notice that your window sills are wet and there are black dots on the window frames, this could signal that you have high humidity. So run these checks around areas where you have your kitchen, where you run a humidifier, and make sure that there are no spots around these areas. There's also the space under your sink. If you ever notice that in the space underneath your sink, there is a swollen floor or a tiny black or white speck on the caulk or a slow drip, then you may need to put a tissue under it and call in a plumber. A very notorious place is bathrooms. If you notice that your bathroom walls are slimy and squishy, or that there's a pink film in the curtain or black dots on the caulk, that is a sign that you are dealing with a mold infestation. Basements are also pretty notorious for hiding molds, and that's because people don't go into basements a lot. So a lot of the times the air in the basement stays still. So if you ever go into a basement and just notice that it has a musty smell or it has a very earthy smell, that is a sign that you shouldn't be there. And finally, I know we all love our plants, but overwatered plants are a mold hazard. If you ever notice that the soil that your plants are planted in is overwatered and is beginning to have a very sort of earthy smell, then that may mean that you are breeding mold in that flower pot and you need to stop watering those plants. Stay healthy.